Today, we continue the story called The Marriage with the Notoriously Rich Boss. The previous part is in the description. Please subscribe and like, it helps a lot. Suddenly, her phone started ringing. As it turned out, it was the father of Xinguang, who wanted to know how his daughter's circumstances. The guy quickly took her phone and answered her father's call, which greatly shocked the girl because she did not want her father to know about her husband. After that, the main character was already on her husband's lap and talked with her parents, who were very surprised to see her husband. At first, the father was perplexed and did not understand who this man was who was next to his daughter, and asked if this was the guy that the state had chosen for her. Then Xinguang felt very embarrassed and asked her parents if Junjin looked really handsome. At that moment, Mom was happy to see her son-in-law and asked him to leave the girl to cook food and he could go to work. She also asked him to be very careful with her because she could not cry. Then Junjin immediately remembered the moment when the main character cooked him a steak and it was not tasty at all. Besides that, the father stated that his daughter's strength is very weak and fragile. She can't even step on an ant, so Junjin definitely shouldn't bully her and take good care of her. Grin the guy replied that their daughter is in safe hands, although in fact she is not weak, as she was able to deal with the bandits who wanted to kidnap her alone. After that, Junjin looked at the time and realized that it was too late and promised that he would definitely take care of their daughter. But for now, they both need to rest. So they ended the conversation and said goodbye to their parents. Rejoicing and patting her husband on the shoulder, the girl was very glad that he was finally able to meet her parents, and her medicine that she gave him really works. After that, she took out her gift and finally congratulated her husband on his birthday, asked him to open the box. Inside this box is a very nice watch that Junjin liked a lot. At that moment, the guy was feeling very embarrassed, and his whole face was red. All this is due to the fact that his bird began to rise, and with the help of his leg, he tried to prevent this and hide it. Then he suggested that there might be something related to medicine, and asked if it had any side effects. Suddenly, he grabbed a small pillow to hide his bird, asking if it happened or something similar with others who took this medicine, to which Xinguang thoughtfully said that he was the first who drank it. At that moment, the main character realized that the fire of love in a person awakens from this medicine, but she immediately declared that they would not have problems with this, since they married only on paper. After that, she asked in surprise where Junjin feels uncomfortable, and what effects he is now feeling, that she left the guy a little like he didn't know how to explain it to her. Sighing, Junjin asked if she even understood what the fire of love means in her opinion, to which the girl replied that she could not know this, since she had never used her medicine in her life. Blushing, Junjin said that he still does not understand what kind of side effect it is, and he just wants to hear words of love, hug, and just does not want Xinguang to leave him alone. He also added that only she is in his head, and he even wants her to constantly call his name and say that she loves him. So he suggested that the main character simply cast a love talisman in his body. In shock, Xinguang said that she really forgot about this side effect, although she heard other people tell her about it when she was still small, but she does not remember it at all, and she really did not cast a love charm. Junjin said in agony that in order for him to feel comfortable and need to say his name and the words that she loves him, which shocked the main character because she did not know how to say love words. She tried to say Junjin, however she did it without emotion, and because of this, the guy did not feel comfortable, and he asked her to say it sincerely. Realizing this, Xinguang gently squinted her husband's face and began to say his name. Then he was simply shocked by her gentle voice. He abruptly stood up and said that he needed to go to the bathroom, and for now she could rest, as he did not know how long this side effect would last. Leaving the main character alone, she did not understand why she felt heat in her hands, as if she had touched the fire with her own hands. Entering the room and turning around, Junjin suggested that this side effect could last from 3 to 5 days, and Xinguang should prepare even more love words for tomorrow and gently call his name, which left the main character a bit shocked, as she didn't understand how the side effect can last from 3 to 5 days, since they usually last a couple of hours. While in the shower, Junjin still felt very strange, and wanted Xinguang to affectionately call him and say love words to him, being completely at a loss, He thought that the main character was actually doing this all on purpose. Besides, he noticed that cold water does not help him at all, and he needs to think of something. Meanwhile, Xingguang is already asleep, and most likely she is dreaming with her husband as she calls his name. The next morning, all the heroes were already in the kitchen where they had a quiet breakfast. Xingguang decided to sleep a little longer and was almost late for breakfast. At that moment, Junjin immediately started sneezing, which surprised his friend a little, and he asked if Junjin didn't happen to get sick. However, Junjin wiped his mouth and said that he was fine, but in fact he washed himself with cold water 30 times yesterday, which is very annoying. Suddenly, Junjin's friend noticed a new watch on Junjin's hands, which surprised him a little, since he thought that it was very cheap and cost only a couple of yuan. So the guy advised Junjin not to wear it, because they are not worth it. At that moment, Fu Zuo worriedly explained that in fact, this watch is a gift from Xingguang. For Junjin's birthday, hearing this, the guy was in complete shock and felt very embarrassed. Fixing her tie, Junjin stated that Xingguang spent her entire first paycheck to buy him this gift. He really likes it. At that moment, Junjin's friend said in bewilderment that Xingguang only earns a couple of thousand yuan a month. Besides, during the internship, she received even 20% less, so he doubts that these watches are actually real. Suddenly, the main character screamed, saying that they are real, since Fu Zuo lent her his card, and he used his money to buy this gift. Because otherwise, if she used the money from her salary, she would not be able to afford such present. At that moment, Fu Zuo began to get very worried because he did not want the girl to tell everyone where she got the money from. But it was already too late, and everyone found out. Junjin was very curious why his wife didn't use her salary to buy him a gift. Also, the guy was devastated that Xingguang once said that she would use her salary to buy gifts for a very important person, which means that he is important in her heart. Grinning, the main character replied that her salary had not yet been distributed. Besides, even if her salary was increased, she still could not afford to buy such a gift. Hearing this, Junjin was simply furious because he did not understand how Xingguang could entrust only a couple of thousand yuan, moreover, with a reduced salary of 20%, and this is already completely unfair. Fu Zuo abruptly took out his phone and started texting his friend for a raise in Xingguang's salary. Seeing this, the owner of that company quickly took out his phone and immediately understood what to do. With a thumbs up, he stated that even if her salary is very low, he will order his subordinates to increase it. In addition, she will receive bonuses for the 5th activity, a bonus in the middle of the year, and this month, the girl can receive up to 50,000 yuan, which surprised the girls a little since she has only been working for 1 month, and she will already receive so many bonuses. Also, the guy with a serious face said that all his staff have recently reformed, just in time for her to catch up to the half-year bonus period. Moreover, Xingguang has already interviewed many big figures, and her productivity is very good. The heroine was just in shock, and according to her calculations, after the salary increase and all these bonuses, he will just have a lot of money. And that means she can finally buy herself the shirt she saw today, since she doesn't like using Fu Zuo's card anyway, as she feels a little embarrassed buying things with his money. Rejoicing, she asked Xingguang which shirts he liked best. After that, the owner of the company said that her salary would come today, and she would get 1 day of rest since she had been working very hard lately, and she needed time to rest. Xingguang was overjoyed and called the guy the best boss she had ever worked with. Suddenly, Junjin got up and was about to leave, reminded the girl to write to him every hour. I know she herself should send him. The guys who were also at the table, hearing this, began to giggle. Xingguang was completely at a loss and did not understand why the side effect had not disappeared yet, and his love for her is very strong. An hour later, Junjin was already at some meeting where there were a lot of influential figures from the business world. Suddenly, they all froze at once. I feel very embarrassed. As it turned out, this was due to the fact that Junjin received a bunch of different notifications from Xingguang, which they pestered him to write by sending various interesting messages. Also, the main character apologized, as she did not know that the side effects would be so strong. But her husband asked her to write something that he would like more. For the whole 2 hours, the characters continuously communicated through messages, and she was already starting to get tired of this side effect. Also, the heroine realized that she could not say love words in any way, since Junjin usually does these things. In addition, she noticed that after being infected with side effects, Junjin's appearance became cuter than usual, which she really likes. Turning around, the girl noticed a mannequin on which there was a black shirt. After a little hunting, the main character realized that this shirt would suit Junjin so well. After that, Xing Guang heard some familiar voices. As it turned out, it was her sister, along with her brother, who were walking talking to the younger sister of Xia Yanyan. Turning around, the main character did not understand why she was so lucky to meet her sister. Xia Yanyan was very surprised to see her sister and asked if she also came here to buy a shirt for Ye Junjin. She also smirkingly stated that she didn't want to offend Xing Guang. But the things that are on this floor are very cheap, and most likely they will not be worn by Junjin. To which the main character replied that everything was fine, since she had already told this to her husband. And he replied that at least he had a high position in society. He could bend down. Xia Zhaoye broke into their conversation with a smile and said that gifts are light and affection is heavy. So there is no difference between high and low gifts. He thinks that as long as this gift was given by Xing Guang, Junjin will like it. Apologizing for what happened yesterday, the guy asked if the main character is free, since he wants to invite her to dinner as an apology. Also, Xia Zhaoye does not understand why, when he looks into Xing Guang's eyes, he sees his little sister. At that moment, immediately stated that in fact it was not his fault, and he should not apologize. Also, the girl was very happy that she could eat with her brother again, but she did not understand why Xia Yanyan was still here because it annoyed her. After a while, the heroes were already in some place where they had dinner. Xia Zhaoye was very interested to know about the little sister of Xing Guang. She said that Qiang wasn't feeling well at the time, so her parents worked hard to take care of them. And it's a pity that within 2 years, she still left. However, in the last 2 years, she burned a lot of melodies, which greatly shocked Xia Yanyan since she did not know that Qiang could compose. At the same time, the main character said that the lastest free cartoonist restaurant played the piece she composed him, and was even taken by Mr. Zhou. At that time, it was inconvenient to tell the truth, so Xing Guang gave the alias Yueshi to her sister. Xing Guang also remembered how Qiang said when she was little that her sister had strong self-esteem and wanted to be the first in everything. And in order not to offend her sister, Qiang hid her musical talent from her, and leaving it to Xing Guang's sister, Xia Yanyan was completely at a loss. Did not understand what nonsense the main character was talking about. In fact, the main character lay it specifically to piss off her sister, and she was very good at it. After that, she showed her phone to Xia Zhaoye, asked him if he didn't mind if she called him Brother Xia. Also on the phone was part of the melody that was composed by Qiang, and the lyrics are filled in Bi Ye Junjin. She said that Junjin wrote the lyrics for Qiang's song, so that his love would not be in vain. Besides, Ye Junjin told that he liked Qiang, so the main character can use it as a slap in the face, Xia Yanyan. Hearing this, Xia Zhaoye was a little surprised to know that his little sister was able to compose such a popular song. At the same time, Xia Yanyan was very angry because she did not understand how Junjin could write the lyrics, because it was composed by Qiang, and this is strong for her humiliates. After that, smiling, she said that her sister can become a white moonlight in Junjin's heart, and she is very happy for her. However, she hopes that Xing Guang will not mind her little sister's position in Junjin's heart. But the main character immediately realized that Xia Yanyan wants to use this one to scare her, but he fails, and she scares herself. Smiling, get better at her hair, and holding a drink in her hands, she said that of course she doesn't mind, since Qiang is her best friend, and when someone loves her that much, of course she will be happy for her. Touching his phone, Xia Zhaoye thanked the main character for helping to promote his little sister's music, and was able to save her life. He also added that yesterday they had a very unpleasant experience for which he is now very ashamed. The crying guy said he didn't know what compensation Xing Guang wanted, but he would do his best to fix it. At that moment, The main character said that all she needed was for them not to interfere with each other and not endanger her life. She also thought that she just wanted a good brother who would protect her. Xia Zhaoye promised that this would never happen again, thinking that if such similar situations happen again, then the spirit and his little sister in paradise will not be able to rest in peace. He also did not understand why he had such a strong conversation with the main character feeling close to her. Suddenly, Junjin called his wife asking why she had not come home yet because he was waiting for a gift from him. However, the main character said that she had already bought everything, but someone told her that the gift she bought would drop his grade, and he thinks it will be a good gift for him. Xia Yanyan watched all this and was very pleased that they speak so badly. Hearing this, Junjin was just shocked. He didn't understand who could afford to say such a thing. He also added that as long as this gift is sent by her, it is priceless tomorrow. He also ordered the girl to come home right now, as he misses her a lot. Xing Guang, looking at her phone, said that she understood everything and would try to get home as soon as possible. Besides, she really liked that Junjin expressed their emotions right now, because now is the right time, which helps her a lot to save her face. And most likely Xia Yanyan is so mad now. After that, the girl got up apologizing and said that she had to leave because her husband could not even live a second without her. She also said that they could meet again the next time Xia Zhaoye was free. Looking into the eyes of her brother, the main character asked him not to explain anything to Junjin about what happened yesterday, since she herself will tell him everything and everything will be fine. After that, Xing Guang left, leaving her brother with a bunch of questions that he wants to know the answers to. And Xia Yanyan, who was just from this whole meeting. She was completely at a loss and did not understand why Junjin called the main character, because he said that he liked Qiong. But the guy in a calm voice asked his sister to calm down, since he told her a long time ago that Junjin has no feelings towards her, and it's time for her to look at the truth with her own eyes. Unable to calm down, Xia Yanyan recalled that the president told her that she had the privilege of choosing men, and if she chose Junjin, the official relationship between him and Xing Guang would cease immediately. When he heard this, the guy was shocked by his sister's thoughts and declared that he would not allow her to do this. It's kind of just not normal, and Junjin still won't love her. She immediately grabbed her brother and hysterically asked him why she couldn't do that, since she had a privilege she wanted to use. At the same time, Xia Zhaoye asked her to calm down. Meanwhile, Junjin was in his room where he calmly read the newspaper with the latest news. Also, his whole face was red, due to the fever he contracted due to the Cold War. In addition, he felt so bad that he was forced to use an IV to heal. Suddenly, Xiao Yun went up to his boss and said that something happened. He stated that there was a big explosion at the largest gas station in the city, which caused a fire. But that's not all. Grandpa Ting's motorcade happened to be refueling at the gas station at the time, and its current situation is unknown. Junjin was shocked by this information, and Xiao Yun added that the fire had spread to nearby houses, and the death toll had already exceeded 100. Fire department has already gone to the rescue. Xiao Yun called the guard captain next to Ting, but he couldn't get through. After that, the guy let his boss look at the photo of what happened. When he saw the photo, Junjin was in complete shock because he saw how the gas station was completely burned down and everything was destroyed nearby. There are also a couple of cars next to the gas station that were also badly damaged. In addition, there were still people who were also very injured, and they need urgent help. He also noticed one very familiar car, and as it turned out, it was his car, in which were Xing Guang and Fu Zhuo. He immediately gave the phone away and started calling his wife. He also asked his security guard to do it too. Calling one person who was at the scene, he immediately asked what happened there and what happened to Xing Guang. She heard that she ran into the flames in order to save someone. In addition, they were also affected by the explosion. At that moment, the main character immediately got out of the car to conduct an on-site interview. However, he heard Junjin's motorcade was refueling at the gas station, and after that, she ran into the flames. Hearing this, Junjin was in complete turmoil of feelings and almost lost consciousness. He immediately came to his senses and ordered to prepare a helicopter. After a couple of minutes, he was already at the place where the explosion occurred, where some man was waiting for him. When Junjin left the whole helicopter, this man said that he unfortunately could not stop Xing Guang. Besides, the main character heard that the Ting family was at the explosion site, so she immediately rushed there without saying a word. After hearing this, Junjin was in complete shock, did not want to let his brother suffer in addition to his beloved woman, so he can't just stand and watch. He immediately ran to one rescuer and grabbing him by the arm and asked him to give him all the necessary equipment. The rescuer was completely at a loss and did not understand why some guy was bothering him. At the same time, Xiao Yun, who was nearby, asked his boss to calm down because he is sick now, and there are a lot of professionals who can save everyone. Suddenly, there was a second explosion that threw the heroes back. Xing Guang came out of this explosion carrying on her back the eldest young master who was injured. Junjin started screaming for someone to call an ambulance, however. The main character asked him not to worry because she found his brother in the bathroom, and most likely the cat had an explosion. He went to this room and was able to escape. Also, the main character said that she didn't have a scratch on her, so she didn't need any help. Fortunately, she was able to find the men's bathroom, and thus was able to save the life of Junjin's brother. Suddenly, the guy immediately started yelling at the girl, asking why she immediately rushed there, which surprised the girl a little because if she hadn't done this, his brother would have died. And now he should not scream, but thank her. After that, Junjin hugged his wife, asking her not to think that she is some kind of Superman, and you should think about the consequences. He also did not understand why the main character did not think about him, because he was very worried about her. At the same time, Xing Guang noticed that her husband is now very nervous, so she asked him not to have you. It's like she just went to save people, and she was confident in herself. Otherwise, he thinks she is stupid. Even if her husband was poisonous and hurt her too much, he will always be where she needs to be. Hugging my wife and carrying her in my arms, Junjin was very happy that she was able to return from the fire safe and sound. At the same time, the main character reflected on how wonderful it would be if her husband cared for her like that, when he was not under the influence love poison. On the evening of that day, the heroes were already in the hospital where Junjin asked the main character to do a thorough examination, but she assured that this should not be done since she was not injured at all. She also understood that her physical indicators were very different from ordinary people, and if this doctor now checks her health condition, then her true identity as a mermaid will be revealed. So she asked her husband to check the condition of her brother, since he most likely feels much worse than her. However, Junjin said with a smile that he had already informed his sister-in-law about this, and there is no shortage of someone like him. After that, they went to the check room. Looking at his wife's inspection data, Junjin was a little surprised. Besides that, Xiao Yun stated that the doctors said that Xing Guang's indicators are completely abnormal and a more comprehensive examination is needed. Then Junjin asked Xiao Yun to go and clear all the inspection data and tell the doctor that he will ask more authoritative experts to show her. He also understood that she is a mermaid, and therefore her indicators may differ from ordinary people. But due to the fact that he already knows her normal indicators, he realized that fortunately, everything is fine with her, and she is safe and sound. Meanwhile, the main character was talking to her sister-in-law, who was very surprised and admired Xing Guang, who had the courage to throw herself into the fire in order to save Shi Ting, and she will remember this kindness for the rest of her life. After that, the main character thanked the girl. Even though she was together with Junjin for only 1 year, she is still touched by the words of her sister-in-law and was even recognized by her. Approaching his wife, Junjin was still very worried about her health and asked how she was feeling, but the girl felt very good. Suddenly, his sister-in-law asked him to hurry up and take his wife home so that she can rest. And she will stay here for now, and if something happens, she will immediately call him. After that, Junjin took his main character in his arms, who was completely at a loss. Did not understand why he was doing this since she could walk, but he asked her to shut up because she was tired now. Walking along the corridor, Xing Guang felt very uncomfortable and did not stop saying that she could walk by herself. Besides, she didn't really like that all the people looked at them like that, so she asked him to put her down, but Junjin still said that she was tired, she shouldn't move anymore. He also explained because it's just a side effect of love poison and he still wants to cuddle her. Hearing this, the main character, looking into her husband's eyes, said that he could hug her all the way home. Meanwhile, a photo was already circulating on social networks where the main character carries her husband's brother on her back, and everyone called her the goddess of fire. Suddenly, next to the guy, the main character passed, who did not understand what he was up to now. Suddenly, Junjin asked Xingguang to use his mermaid account to upload a selfie with her there, and since he wants everyone to know the one who threw himself into the fire in order to save his brother, she gently touched her husband's face and said that she wouldn't post any selfie because that way the whole world would know she was a mermaid. So she said that he was probably delirious because of the side effects. At that moment, Junjin said that he actually did not have any side effects associated with love poison, which surprised the girl a little, and she did not understand why. Then he asked her to send those love messages. Junjin added that he actually lied to her all this time, and the real side effect is a strong aphrodisiac effect, so he took 30 cold showers last night and after that all the side effects immediately disappeared. He also said that in fact, this dropper just helps him get rid of the fever, and she herself can see what is written there and make sure about it. Deciding to look at the dropper and it really was written that it helps to get rid of fever, at that moment, Xingguang finally realized that Junjin's body is hot, not because of side effects, but because of fever. She was in complete shock. She didn't understand why Junjin was deceiving her all this time, to which the guys replied that she actually gave him aphrodisiacs when he was sick, which made him burn all over. Having heard this, the main heroine said that if she knew what side effect her husband would get, she would never give him this medicine. At that moment, the main character immediately began to deny all this, saying that in fact she did not know the side effects that he could get. Approaching the guy, the main character asked him not to think that she liked him, which surprised the girl a little because he saw that she was all blushing, and all the messages that she sent him today, she did it sincerely. Besides, he understood that she felt good when she called him Jin. Having heard this, the main character was in complete shock and did not know how to react to herself, and even more. After that, she immediately ran, saying that she would not tell him anything else and would just go to sleep. However, Xingguang quickly grabbed her hand and told her that she could only go to bed after posting on Weibo. Suddenly, Xiao Yun came into the room with a bag in his hands. He said that she dropped this bag when she threw herself into the fire today. Well, when he saw that the heroes were talking to each other, he immediately left the room. The main character was immediately delighted because in this bag there was a gift that she bought for her husband from her first salary, and this is the most expensive suit that she bought in her life. After that, she took out a shirt that she liked then and stated that she bought this shirt according to his height, but she does not know if this size will suit him. Then Junjin pulled the needle out of her hand while preparing to put on this shirt, but when the main character saw this, she immediately said that she would run for the band-aid since there was a small wound on his arm. Junjin immediately undressed and put on a shirt, which surprised Xingguang a little as she didn't expect him to undress right in front of her. After that, approaching his wife, he softly asked her to help him fasten the button. At that moment, Xingguang did not understand how he could try on clothes when he had a wound on his arm. She was buttoning up her husband's shirt while listening to you tell him that he really likes this shirt, and it fits his body perfectly. Suddenly, Xingguang immediately turned around and left, saying that she is Junjin anyway, and she needs to rest. At that moment, her husband thanked her for what she, if we had in her life, in order to save his brother. He also asked her not to be so brave in the future and not to risk her life so much. In addition, he asked her not to forget to tweet Weibo. While in her room, the main character rested and corresponded with her husband. But she did not understand why he uses so many different emoji if he didn't fall into the poison of love. The next day, Xingguang was very tired, but she still managed to come to work. Suddenly, all her colleagues surrounded her at once, and one of them said that Xingguang is now hot, and she will have a lot of fans, which left the main character a little bewildered, and she did not understand what was happening. At that moment, one girl showed the news in which it was written that Coco TV intern reporter you are all interviews with quite famous big figures. Seeing this, the main character tensed a little because she thought that it was very close to her mermaid identity being revealed. Ying Ying was furious and did not understand why Xingguang is always shining. There is no news that can suppress her. Suddenly, one of the employees went to Weibo and saw the news that Xia Yanyan wants to get married. It was also written there that she wants to start a family. And for this, you plan to use your privileges to personally choose a man she likes. At that moment, the female protagonist was a little surprised by this news and immediately had a bad feeling as she understood that the person Xia Yanyan wants to choose is Junjin. Boss Xingguang immediately remembered that the country gave Xia Yanyan special privileges by which she can choose her own husband, even if he is already married. After that, if her husband refuses her proposal, he can go to jail for 3 years. Moreover, who refuses will forever be banned from being a politician. After hearing this, the main character was just furious and did not understand why Xia Yanyan is such a terrible person who always wants to interfere with her, saying that this privilege is perverted. She was in thought hoping that Junjun will refuse Junjin. Moreover, now is a critical moment for his brother as he is running for president, since their family will not be able to participate if they are not in politics. In addition, Junjin was forced to marry Xingguang because of his older brother who is running for president, and now he is forced to marry Xia Yanyan because of the same situation. In the evening of the same day, Ting is still in the hospital where he is being treated. In addition to this, next to him is his wife and Xia Yanyan, who is unclear what she is doing here. Suddenly, the main character came into the room, who was very interested in what state Ting is in. Ting replied that everything is fine with him, and he would like to thank the main character for saving his life. In addition, he advised him to do such dangerous things in the future, since in a sports case he will not be able to return her to Junjin unharmed. Xingguang waved her hands and said that everything was fine because she was sure that she could save him. Suddenly, a man whose name is Yan Bei came into the room, and they are surprised by the current president of this country and an old friend of Ting. He immediately approached his friend and, touching his face with his hand, asked how he felt. He also stated that his life was long since even such a big explosion could not kill him. When the guy turned around, he saw the main character and asked his brother if she was the fire deity who saved him. At that moment, Xingguang felt very embarrassed, since this is the first time she sees the president in real life. She told him that she could not afford to be called a deity of fire. However, smiling said that she deserved this name. After that, the president said that he organized a special investigation team in order to investigate this case. If it was not really an accident, then he would explain everything to them. Suddenly, Xia Yanyan appeared behind him and thanked the president for coming and was able to take some of his time to visit her cousin. Also added that this time everything was very dangerous. She asked people nearby, "I didn't say that there were big losses." Yan Bei asked if Xia Yanyan really wants to marry someone since he recently saw it on the news, but that the girl calmly answered yes, and she wants to sign a marriage application for her 25th birthday. She also hopes that the party can hold a grand wedding for her. The president said that her marriage is the equivalent of a national affair, and he would definitely pay attention to it anyway, but the girl was very interested in what would happen to those who refused to marry her. To which Yan Bei replied with a smile that while he is not married, there is no need to discuss it. He also does not understand who will refuse to marry Xia Yanyan, since she is the only mermaid in the whole country. Smiling, the girl replied that she was just joking, and the guy she would marry would of course be a little nervous at the beginning, but she hoped that he would not refuse her. Meanwhile, Xingguang was listening to all this and realized that Xia Yanyan was clearly next in line to use her privilege to get married in the blink of an eye. Her choice most likely fell on Junjin. After that, the main character returned back to her mansion, where she noticed that Tang Zhou abruptly began to run away somewhere. She was a little surprised, so she asked Fu Zuo somewhere he is in such a hurry, to which the guys replied, "The person dialing is his mortal enemy. He hopes that Tang Zhou does not do anything stupid." Junjin, calmly sipping tea, said that if the country can allocate in this way, it means that there are no problems. He also stated that a lot of pairs of objects allocated by the country have finally become, and he must try, since this is the best option for him. Suddenly, the main character asked if he was not afraid that he might accidentally influence his brother's presidential election, since if Tang Zhou refuses, the influence on Ting will be minimal. However, Junjin stated that not all things are as simple as they seem on the surface. The main character even started to cry, because if this is true, then while it affects his brother, the happiness of other people can be ignored. Besides, he is ready to accept all these conditions if they help his brother. Xing Guang was crying, realizing that she had already begun to lose control of herself again, so she was about to leave. However, her husband abruptly grabbed her arm as usual and pulled her towards him, gently touching her face and looking straight into her eyes. He asked her who offended her and why she was acting so strange. He stated that he would constantly take care of her. The main character was unhappy because she did not expect her husband to be the kind of man who would ignore personal happiness for the sake of the goal. She was very interested if Junjin would marry Xia Yanyan, if she would use her privilege. Junjin told his wife that she can punish him, and he will do everything so that she will not be angry anymore. She realized that her husband was ready to marry Xia Yanyan for political purposes, and offended by him, asked to get out because she wants to leave. To which the guy hugs his wife even tighter, and asked to forgive her for sacrificing his own happiness for political purposes. After that, he tried to kiss Xing Guang, but she was able to return a type of kiss, which the guy did not like a little, and he asked if she likes to keep it with her eyes closed, because she is afraid of him that he will look through her mind, gently whispering in her ear. He asked him to open those eyes because he wants to kiss her, or she will not look away with her eyes closed. This girl was immediately indignant and not understanding what kind of nonsense he was talking about, since she did not expect this from him at all. But Junjin pressed even harder to the girl and asked her not to lie, as he feels that her heartbeat has accelerated, which means that she likes him. Xing Guang immediately turned around and said something wrong, and she doesn't love him with everything. She also didn't understand how she could fall in love with such a ruthless person who is ready to sacrifice their happiness for political purposes. But her husband, hugging her from behind, once again asked her not to lie, because if she didn't like him, she wouldn't take care of him. Wouldn't take care of him every time he had a relapse. He also said that she was doing this because it hurt her looking at how he was suffering. He also looked at the girls straight in the eyes and saw that she was now very excited, and said that she was trying to turn a whole year of marriage into a whole life. At that moment, Xing Guang wanted to say something and was already taking a breath. Junjin quickly restored her and said that he did not want to hear lies from her mouth, but the truth from her heart. He also added that he heard from someone that she really wants a relationship with him, and saying this, he kissed his wife passionately, who was simply shocked and did not expect it from him. However, she did not resist, and at first she even liked it. So she closed her eyes and just enjoyed this moment. However, after a couple of seconds, she realized what she was doing, and immediately opening her eyes, threw him back and ran away from him in the sense that no one wants to be with him. After that, being in her room, Xing Guang felt very embarrassed and did not understand why she then decided to kiss him. She remembered the moment when he said that she wanted to date him, and she asked herself if she really fell in love with him. After that, waving worriedly, she said that she needed to go see Tang Zhou and console him. When she went outside, she noticed Tang Zhou, who was sitting on a bench and was very sad. Meanwhile, his friends tried to console him, but they did not succeed. He said that he would never get married again, and asked everyone not to think that he would get married. His friend took him to calm him down, saying that he would cool down since he is already being dialed by others. He just needs a concept of this. He dialed and hit his deadly enemy. That dog man wants to marry this young mater now while he is poor and stupid, and Tang Zhou didn't know what he was hoping for. Suddenly Fu Zuo said that since Tang Zhou is a girl, it's okay to be shaken by a man. But with Brother Jin's learned, Fu Zuo doesn't understand why Tang Zhou won't pay a single tax, to which she replied that she's already paid everything. But she's afraid of being dialed by others, so she cut single tax for 20 years ahead. Meanwhile, the main character was just in shock and did not know that Tang Zhou was this girl. In addition, she does not look like a girl at all, but looks like some kind of boy. At that moment, a friend of Tang Zhou said that it was stipulated that one payment cannot exceed 10 years, and if he pays for 20 years in advance, then the system should treat him as against the policy and not give him a dial. The main character asked her friends if Tang Zhou is really a girl, To which the guys answered positively, which did not shock Xingguang much, but did not understand why she was the last to know about it. Tang Zhou sadly asked her friends to leave as she wants to be alone. Fu Zhuo said that he and Tang Zhou used to make pies together when they were kids, and sometimes they all just forget that she's actually a girl. Xingguang had already begun to have a headache from such an influx of information, and she said that she had enough for today, and she just needed to leave and rest. Being in her room, she was finally able to calmly exhale, as today was a very difficult day. Looking at her phone, she saw a message from Jun Jin who asked him to listen to his heart. And if she wants her to fall in love with him, then she just needs to post a selfie on Weibo, and he is waiting for her answer. The main character did not understand who would want to be with Jun Jin at all. She also could not understand how he could change so suddenly. Xingguang again remembered the moment when she kissed her husband, but this time she realized that she really liked it. Then she suggested that her husband was really seriously poisoned and she needed to do something. For example, divert attention. After that, she immediately called Han Cheng-bei, who was very happy to talk to the girl. The main character asked him if anyone who wants to buy regret medicine. To which the guy said that he has a friend whose sister died when he was still very young, and he just found out the truth about her death. So he wants to buy regret medicine from Xingguang. Also, the price is negotiable. Xingguang asked the name of a friend, and she was also very interested in how his sister died. Han Cheng-bei said that the main character may have heard about him somewhere. Namely, he is talking about the older brother of the national treasure Xia Yanyan, and her older brother is called Jia Zhao Ye, who is the CEO of the Mermaid Group. He had a little sister who is very died a long time ago, and he would like to save her life. Xingguang was in complete shock and could not believe that her brother wanted to buy regret medicine from her in order to go back and save her life. But she did not understand why she suddenly had such intentions. After that, Han Cheng-bei asked if she could sell him this medicine, to which the girl apologized and said that Xia Zhao Ye, unfortunately, did not meet the criteria of clients, and she would not sell him anything. Sitting on her bed, she realized that although her brother had good intentions, she did not want to completely change her life. Suddenly, she remembered that a customer consulted before, and she wants to see if he is online now. It's been a day, and Xingguang was about to leave her job, so she said goodbye to her colleague and left. She still couldn't stop thinking about Xia Yanyan and her evil plans. She couldn't understand why she couldn't just take a picture or wait until Xia Yanyan submit an application to the president and snatch Jun Jin from her. As long as Xingguang thinks of Xia Yanyan's proud face, she will be angry. Also, she said that in this life she can lose to anyone, but she can't afford to lose to Xia Yanyan. Suddenly, a car started approaching from behind Xingguang, who was quietly sitting on her phone. Some man in a business suit got out of this car and immediately called the girl by name. He asked her to get into the car, which surprised the girl a little, so she did not understand who he was and what he intended to do with her. Then the man showed his ID, where it was written that he works in the President Palace. Also, his name is Qin Yao, and most likely Xingguang saw him a couple of days ago, who was guarding VIP ward Shi Ting's. He also added that the president wants to meet her immediately. When she heard this, the girl was a little at a loss and did not understand why the president so suddenly wanted to meet her. And then she assumed that Xia Yanyan had already signed everything. While in the car, Qin Yao asked the girl to give him the phone, which surprised the main character a little, and she did not understand why all this. But Qin Yao replied that she shouldn't ask such questions, since he was just following orders. And after that, he immediately snatched her phone out of his hand. After that, Qin Yao suddenly handcuffed Xingguang, who was in complete shock and did not understand why he was doing this, since she did not break any law. But the man replied that only she in her heart knows what she did for real, and now he advised her to think about what she had done. Besides that, the president is very busy right now and doesn't have time to meet her, so she has time to think now. Xingguang kept calm, but still didn't understand what she did. After a while, they nevertheless came to one palace where some girl in a pink dress was already waiting for them. This girl turned out to be Xia Yanyan, who, grinning, did not understand why Xingguang's hands were handcuffed and asked if she had broken some law. Passing next to Qin Yao replied that she did it. Being inside the main character could no longer restrain calmness and screaming asked what she did. And first they need to explain and what happened because she doesn't understand at all. It's completely inexplicable. Qin Yao accompanied her to hear and allowed Xia Yanyan to look at all this as a joke. After that, while in the room, the man said that the girl actually stole the information of other people who are registered on Weibo and cheated on Weibo. Xinguang asked whose information she stole, and she won't plead guilty until they show her some evidence. Slamming his hand on the table loudly, Qin Yao asked if the main character knew Zhuo Yuxiu, from whom she stole information. Hearing this, the girl tensed up a little as she assumed that the president had found out about her purchase of regret medicine. At that moment, she replied that this man was her grandfather. Upon hearing this, Qin Yao called the girl very face-saving, and once again asked if she really knew who Mr. Zhuo was, to which the main character again answered that he was her grandfather. She also did not understand which law stipulates that grandpa cannot be recognized. The man realized that the main character had no intention to repent, and he decided to tell her what she did. Namely, she cheated and sold regret medicine on Weibo, and he did not understand why she cheat. Xinguang didn't understand why he thinks she is lying to someone since she is a serious businessman, and the candy she sells is called regret medicine. Pointing a finger at the girl, Qin Yao said that she lied to the president himself, and thus she is too interchangeable, which left the main character a little bewildered, and she asked herself if the president wanted to buy regret medicine from her. She asked the man not to talk nonsense because the president never bought anything from her. At that moment, Qin Yao said that Xinguang not only tried to deceive the president, but also managed to steal personal information about his grandfather by using her to register on Weibo in order to deceive the president. The main character was perplexed, and she realized that Grandpa Zhuo is actually the president's grandfather. I actually used the president's grandfather's account to sell regret medicine. Then she asked if Grandfather Zhuo is the president's grandfather, which Qin Yao strongly disliked. He did not understand how she dared to call him her grandfather, and most likely she did not know who her relatives were. Xinguang understood that every day a lot of people sent her private messages in order to buy regret medicine, and who knows what kind of identity Mr. President is. Suddenly she remembered something. Maybe those clients who blocked her for not responding to her message. Yanbei suddenly entered the room. At that moment, Qin Yao told the president that this particular girl was pretending that Elder Zhou was her godfather. At that moment, the main character was unhappy and said that in fact, Elder Zhou was originally her grandfather, and if they do not believe, then let them call him and clarify the situation. However, due to the fact that her phone was taken away, she can't even do it, and she asked Qin Yao to return the phone to her so that she would call her grandfather and say that his grandson let his dog legs bully her. At that moment, Yanbei still allowed Xinguang to call. However, grandfather answered the call for a very long time, which Qin Yao did not like, and he ordered her not to pretend anymore. However, the main character said that he was most likely busy now and did not hear the call. Most likely he went fishing, and she would now try to call him again. At that moment, the main character decided to call Uncle Li, who immediately answered, and he was very surprised that Xinguang remembered him. The girl immediately asked him if Grandpa Zhuo is next to him because she urgently needs to talk to him. Hearing this, Uncle Li turned the camera to the grandfather who was sitting quietly and fishing. Seeing him, Xinguang immediately started screaming, begging him for help. Zhuo was in complete shock and did not understand what happened to his granddaughter. He also asked her not to cry, as he would definitely help her. The main character, wiping her tears, said that some people say that she is ignorant and allow themselves to say that she pretends to be his god-granddaughter and lock her up. After that, she immediately pointed her phone camera at the handcuffs to show that she could not even move her hands normally. Seeing this, grandfather was in complete shock and did not understand why they were doing this to his beloved granddaughter. He also asked who dared to do this. Xinguang immediately turned her phone camera to Yanbei, who was sitting quietly drinking tea. Taking the phone, the worried guy asked how Zhuo's grandfather was feeling. However, the man could not calm down and did not understand why he handcuffed his granddaughter. The president said that there was a misunderstanding, and Xinguang stole his ID card and registered on Weibo with her help. So he decided to talk to her to find out the situation. When Grandpa heard this, he was very angry and immediately understood what they were saying. And on the account of Grandpa specialized in regret medicine, he was also unhappy with the fact that because of this incident they put tracks on his granddaughter. He told her that Yanbei was behaving only for the fact that he had the strength of the president, and he can mock his granddaughter. The president, smiling, said that in fact it was not he who handcuffed her, but the people who work for him and behave very aggressively. He also promised that you should definitely talk to your employees who behaved this way. Qin Yao, and holding the phone, immediately began to apologize. They say that in fact it is his mistake, and he will unfasten the handcuffs as soon as possible so he can calm down. But the grandfather said that Qin Yao should not change in front of him in front of another person. And approaching Xing Guang, Qin Yao said that there was a misunderstanding, and he is very ashamed of what happened. He also hopes that the girl will not care about what he said before. Meanwhile, the grandfather, in a rage, said that if they dare and mock his granddaughter again, then Yanbei will no longer recognize him as a grandfather in the future. After that, Grandfather Zhuo calmly told his granddaughter that he taught them a lesson, and in the future they would not interfere with her. He also asked if it hurt her to wear these handcuffs. Crying, the main character thanked her grandfather, said that everything was fine with her, and it was also very interesting how many fish he could catch, since she really wants to eat the fish cooked by him. Meanwhile, Qin Yao asked the president if that old gentleman really was his grandson, which the president didn't like, because hearing this makes no difference that people suspect that he is the grandson. Xing Guang said goodbye to her grandfather and uncle, wishing them good fishing. But before finishing the call, Grandpa Zhuo once again reminded Yanbei not to bully his granddaughter in any way, but rather not take good care of her, and if someone dares to bully her in the imperial capital, he will be the first to settle accounts with him. After the call, Yanbei immediately bowed to the girl and said that it was all his fault since his eyes were blind. After that, Xing Guang asked the guy to kneel down, which shocked him a little. She didn't do it. Then she said that she always knew that the king of Hades loves little ghosts, and she didn't have the same knowledge as him. So he stepped back, because she had more important things to discuss with the president. When Qin Yao left the room and the heroes were left alone, the president asked if regret medicine really existed. But the main character, coughing, said that she was now dry and she would like him to pour her a cup of tea in order to moisten her throat first, and after that, they can talk. Having done this, the guy did not ask if she could now tell him about regret medicine. Xing Guang, after drinking some tea, began to tell that since he is the grandson of Grandpa Zhuo, she will not beat around the bush. She said that there really is regret medicine that can restore things beyond regret and get a turning point. When Yanbei heard this, he was shocked and did not understand if this was true, to which the main character replied that why not, since meeting with her is a turning point in his life. After that, she looked the guy straight in the eyes and asked him to tell about his desire and what exactly he wants to save. Yanbei said that 3 years ago Ting Nan was on a business trip, but then she was kidnapped by foreign extremists. He personally led a team to find these extremists and save Ting Nan, but all this time they were hiding in a water prison where they held the girl hostage. However, when he did manage to find her, Ting Nan had a miscarriage because she had been in cold water in these prisons for too long. And it is because of this that Yanbei and Ting Nan never had children. Although Ting Nan doesn't say a single word, she always cries in her dreams, calling out the word baby. However, the one who did wrong then was just out. Since he could not protect his wife and his child, he tried to pretend that nothing really happened, but this did not help him at all. Therefore, if possible, he wants to go back to that day, and even if they are destined to part, he does not want Ting Nan to suffer anymore. At that moment, Xing Guang realized that she could also benefit from this situation, and asked the guy not to say anything else, but just give her a privilege. And in return, she would give him regret medicine that could save their marriage and his child. This time she doesn't want any money, but just privileges, as she has to suppress Jia Yanyan with this privilege, otherwise she really feel uneasy. Yanbei was very interested in what privilege the girl wants, to which the main character replied that she wants him to give Junjin with the help of which no one can take him away from her, to which the guy stated that, in fact, there is a law that protects her rights. However, Xing Guang objected that there are cases where these laws do not protect her at all, such as when some people with privileges want to shamelessly snatch the man they like, and the main character just wants the privilege with which, when some woman wants to get her husband's attention, their privilege is void. At that moment, the president began to understand what he was talking about and the main character, and asked if she was afraid that Xia Yanyan would want to snatch Jun Jin from her with her privilege. This made the girl a little embarrassed, and she said that they could use this analogy so that he would understand better. And what privileges, she says. Yan Bei said that he unfortunately does not have the right to give privileges. In addition, all the privileges of Xia Yanyan are provided to her by the state itself, and even if he is the president, he cannot interfere in any way. So the president told the girl that if she wants to expand her happiness instead of counting on privileges, she should get married to that man as soon as possible while they are married. Even if Xia Yanyan falls in love with Junjin, she will not be able to snatch him. At that moment, Xing Guang realized that if we could get married, then she would not even need privileges. Besides, Junjin already wants to marry her. She remembered how first day they met, they got marriage certificates, but they were unofficial, so they are still not considered married, which means that Xia Yanyan can start getting along with Junjin anytime. Standing up, Xing Guang asked the president to think about his marriage, about his child. Since in this insole, he loses practically nothing, and all he needs to do is just give the privilege, and then she will make sure that he can have a child. But the president, loudly hitting the table with his fist, declared that he could not use the power of the president for his own purposes, and would not do it out of principle. Suddenly, Ting Han entered the room and was wearing a beautiful black dress that didn't fit at all. Approaching the main character, she said that she should not count on the president, as he is the kind of person who will not compromise even if his wife's life is in danger. The girl also said that she is doing everything possible to save the life of her child so that it does not cost, and if regret medicine exists immediately, then she wants to buy it as soon as possible. President approached his wife begging her to calm down, however Ting Nan tried to break free and ordered him to leave her alone. Also, she said that in fact he cannot give a privilege, but even if he could do it, he would not do it, since he is the person whose interests of the country are greater than the sky. At the same time, the protagonist feels very embarrassed to herself and offered to change the conditions for Grandpa Zhuo's sake. No need to take privileges seriously, and she just wants to be recognized as a god sister. And despite the difficulties she has to face in the future, they should protect her like a real sister. Then Ting Nan said that if Xing Guang can save her son, then the main thing from this day on, she will be her real sister. This main character heard some kind of box with regret medicine and handed it to the president. Opening the box, in it was some kind of sphere in which there were a lot of flowers. Yan Bei was simply fascinated by the beauty of this sphere and could not believe that this is actually regret medicine, as it looks like pearl. Xing Guang smilingly asked the heroes to believe that she is God. She also asked her big sister to hurry up and prepare a cup of warm water for her husband, and after that, let him take this medicine. The main character said that after he takes regret medicine, he must concentrate strongly and return back at the moment he wants, but he needs to remember that he has only 1 hour to change his fate, so his fate is still in his hands. Yan Bei looked at the time and said that he could not accept it now, as he would have a state banquet in an hour, and he was afraid that he would be late. However, Xing Guang smilingly asked him not to constantly worry about his presidential work. Anyway, he have got too much social responsibility. She also explained to him that no matter how much time he goes into the past, the present does not change, and he cannot worry. In addition, all the memories of those who interfere with this are preserved, and they will remember everything. Therefore, great pain and the loss of a child will remain and will not disappear anywhere. Looking his wife straight in the eyes, the president asked if they were still getting a divorce if he could save the child. However, Ting Nan asked him to save the child first, and after that they would talk about it. After that, the girls decided to go for a little rest and not disturb Yan Bei. Suddenly they stopped because they did something strange. Ting Nan said that it was as if she heard a child crying. Meanwhile, the president went back to the past where he was still able to save his wife from those extremists and quickly dealt with them. Then they had a beautiful daughter with green eyes, whom they had been waiting for so long. Returning back to the present, Yanbei was already holding his daughter in her arms, who was very happy to see her mother and wanted to hug her. Tingnan started crying with happiness, as she was finally able to give birth to her child she had been waiting for so long. She couldn't even hold back her tears. Suddenly, their child noticed that their mother was crying and asked why she was doing this, to which Tingnan said that she would not cry anymore. After that, Xinguang decided to leave the happy family alone to enjoy this beautiful moment. After that, the main character met with a man who was looking for her. This is due to the fact that the memory of all people has been updated, and now she was invited by the president to attend the state banquet, not escorted by Qin Yao. He said that the president asked him to arrange a seat for her, so she needs to follow him. After that, they entered a huge hall where there were a lot of people from high strata of society. At the same time, Xinguang was sitting at the table where she calmly sipped wine. She was glad that she was able to help the president. Looking towards Tingnan, who was playing with her child, she realized that a lot of people who took the medicine of regret were finally able to live normally and get rid of regrets. At that moment, she thought and asked herself why she could not save Qin Junye too, using this medicine. After that, the main character made a post on Weibo in which she wrote that she wanted to help people all her life, but her husband wrote that the rest of her life was already predetermined. Seeing this, the main character was a little shocked and did not recognize how he knows such cheesy words, and decided to answer that the rest of his life is booked. Suddenly, Junjin wrote to her in a private message, and he asked her for screenshots as proof, which surprised the girl a little, and she did not understand what kind of screenshots he was talking about. To which the guy replied that he wanted screenshots of evidence that the rest of his life was booked, which slightly cheered up the girl, and she blushed. Suddenly, some girl in a green dress and pink hair who was behind Xinguang said that if the national treasure is the highest level of singing in the country, but as it turned out, it was nothing special. At that moment, the main character said, "All the girls who are in the country are actually very talented and are treasures." Also, she asked if the girl is ready to sing a song for her. After hearing this, the girl in the green dress said that in fact her voice is much more powerful than the voice of the national treasure of this country. And from now on, her country will not hold the signboard of the world's #1 singing voice. Also, the girl said that their national treasure can only be compared with the sound of a dolphin. At that moment, Xinguang realized that this girl may be a bit capacity, and it is impossible for someone from another country to smash the scene without a few talents. Then the main character said that no one said that the national treasure of their side should be compared with her, and it is enough to send someone to compare with her. So point the finger at yourself. She offered herself as an example. Hearing this, the girl was at a loss and asked the name of the main character. Xinguang introduced herself and asked the name of this girl. At that moment, a friend next to them appeared another girl who said that the girl in the green dress is the noble Princess Jue Chun of their country K. Hearing this, the main character was a little surprised, and then she understood why the voice is so popular. After that, Ju Chen began to whisper something in her maid's ear. Meanwhile, Jia Yanyan had already finished singing. The host informed all the attendees that the following program is brought by the delegation of Country K. She also introduced Princess Ju Chen to everyone who was already on stage, and holding a microphone was preparing to start singing with her beautiful voice. Shi Ting's wife told Jia Yanyan that Chi Jue Chun now wants to compete with her and see which girl has the most beautiful voice, which greatly surprised Xia Yanyan. Turning around, she saw how the princess began to sing, and she did it very well. Angry, she sat down at the table and said that if she knew that someone wanted to compete with her, she would have prepared in advance. Besides, when she just finished singing this, Princess allowed herself to appear on stage. And it is very ugly. She also realized that it was actually her mistake. Since she was careless, the Minister of Culture greeted her before, and this time when Country K is here, she definitely wants to compare. In addition, the girl herself did not expect that someone then dare and challenge, and she did not know what to do now. Her friends said that she didn't need to worry because her brother and her sister would be able to deal with Ju Chen now that Shakira was a little girl, and she didn't understand how they could do it. Meanwhile, the main character was backstage where she watched the princess sing. The guy asked her what song she wants to sing, and you just need to say the name of the song and he will ask the backstage to prepare it. He also asked the girl if she was sure what she wants to do now, and offered to sing better on the next show. However, Xing Guang said that she wants to sing on today's show, and asked the guy to prepare a piano for her, as she will sing her own repertoire which no one else has heard. She also said that he can reserve a couple of shows for her while she goes and changes her clothes. The guy said that he will reserve time for 6 shows for her, and asked if that's enough for her to do her makeup. And if that's not enough, then he can reserve time for 10 shows in case she's late. But the main character said that she can sing, and through 4 shows, by the way, what she is going to sing is "You Are My First Sunshine." And this song was written for Junjin a long time ago, and now it's time to use it.